Hi, everybody.
Hi everyone, it's Mo again from Teaching Modern Minds.
Happy New Year.
This is CJ, my daughter, and she wanted to come on and tell everyone Happy New Year. And I am here to tell you about a series that we are going to be posting for the whole month of January on our Instagram page, which are suggestions for ways to incorporate some of those possible Christmas presents into small learning lessons for your young learner. Now, Christmas came to a very quick end for us. It seemed like it came and went in the blink of an eye, and now it's time to get back to our class schedule. But we don't want to just push to the side all of those wonderful things that we got for Christmas. We are going to find ways to incorporate them into learning lessons. And so this week we posted some suggestions for incorporating some of those toys or gifts into language arts learning lessons. And that's what we are going to go over today. Some suggestions for language arts. So here we go. I hope that your kids enjoy board games, you and your kids, because this is today's suggestion. There are several suggestions for language arts situations posted already, so go right on over to our Instagram page at Teaching Modern Minds, and you'll find our full suggestions for language arts and incorporating some of those possible Christmas presents, or maybe even some toys that you already have at home. But today's suggestions are going to be about board games and language arts. And there's some really simple ways that you can incorporate language arts lessons into playing board games. Some of the things that you'll need for this, of course, are board games. We're going to talk about today Candyland. This is my daughter's absolute hands down favorite board game. And both of my children really enjoy chess. And if you're like me and you have no idea how to play chess, but your children absolutely enjoy it, you might want to invest in No Stress Chess. It comes with tips and cards and ways to play so that you can be able to be involved and know whether or not your kids are cheating you in the game like mine try to. The other thing that we will work on is Monopoly. Everybody usually has Monopoly. If you don't, that's okay. You can go and grab it for this. It's always a good game. It's good for math, especially because it's money and life and buying and selling and things like that. But we're going to turn it into language arts as well. Some of the other things you will need are some low-tack stickers. You don't want anything that's really tacky. You want something that you can place onto the board and it will come back off pretty easily. That can also be Post-it notes as well. They work really well. They come in all kinds of different sizes now, and some of them, depending on what size you get, can be perfectly sized for the board games. There's also the option of cutting them down. That works also. Or you can just leave them as big as you want and work around it. Whatever works for you. The other thing that we are definitely going to need is at least one die. A set of dice is also possible for some of the game options, but at least one die is going to be very helpful. And then something to write with. Grab some pens, some pencils, markers, whatever it is that you want to use, and some scratch paper. You can use journals for this if you have writing journals or if you have spelling journals, anything like that. Of course, you are more than welcome to use those same Post-it notes, depending on what size they are. Those same Post-it notes can be used as your scratch paper and for keeping points. And then, of course, you'll need whatever spelling list you're working on. Okay, so let's start off by grabbing that Candyland game. Let's open it up. And Candyland, of course, comes with several game pieces. This is the My Little Pony edition, so we have ponies. I think for this example, I'll go ahead and grab Rainbow Dash. She's one of my favorites. She's blue. And Candyland also comes with these color-coded game cards. And these we won't be using right now. I'll show you another suggestion to use these later on, but for the suggestion we'll work on right now, we can put these to the side. And oh, this will also work for games like Chutes and Ladders and Mousetrap, things that you just move along the board and are color-coded will also work well also. We'll go ahead and open up our board game. And we are going to take those low-tack stickers that we wrote our sight words on. And now we will place them on, we'll simply stick them on the board. Now you can fill the whole board, every square, with sight words if you'd like. You can skip a couple of spaces and do every other tile, however it is that you would like to do it. All you're going to do is just fill up your board with all of the sight words that you're using. You can repeat words if you needed to, or you can make every single one of these words a different word. Whatever your choice is, you go for it. So once you have made a space for all of your sight words on the board, you take your game piece and you put it on here. And normally you do not play Candyland with a die or dice, but we are changing it up a little bit. So you will need that at least one die, and you're going to take your die and roll the die, and whatever number you land on, of course, you move that number of spaces. Now when you get to a space that has a word sticker on it, now it's time for your young learner to first say the word, and next they get to close their eyes and attempt to spell it. Now, however many attempts you want to give them is totally up to you. I would suggest keeping it to 3. So they would get at least 3 tries to go ahead and spell the word. If they spell the word correctly, then they get to move forward 2 extra spaces. If they spell the word incorrectly, they get to move backwards 2 spaces. And you keep playing the game and taking turns until whoever reaches the castle or the winning point gets there first. That's how you win. Now, the second suggestion is we will take these color-coded cards now, and you will put them face down on the board. Now we're going to make a code sheet for every single color on the board. So for us right now, we're going to use red is double E words, blue is EA words, so forth and so on. So you can continue with your die if you'd like to go ahead and roll and figure out the number of spaces. But since you're color coding it this time, it will be more efficient for the game if you went ahead and pulled your card first, right? So now we have a purple card. So I'm following the rules of the game now, and I move to a purple tile. If that purple tile has a spelling word on it, I now get the same opportunity to spell whatever word is on the board at the time. But we're adding to it my purple word. So now technically I'm getting the opportunity to make a word and spell a word. So in this case, our purple are OU words. So I would have to create an OU word in order to be able to satisfy my purple square. Now, if my square also had a spelling word on it, I also get the opportunity to spell the word. If you get both of them right, then now you get to move forward 4 spaces. If you only get one of them right, you move backwards 2 spaces. If you get both of them wrong, then you move back 3 spaces, and you continue playing until, like before, whoever is the first person to get to the castle or the winning point on the board. So those are some ways to incorporate spelling and language arts into playing something as simple as Candyland. If your child hasn't gotten to spelling yet, or they're still working on, let's just say, phonics, they haven't made it that far yet, then you can always change these things up to suit whatever it is that you're doing at the time. So if your young learner is working on phonics, then of course, you, instead of putting the spelling words on here, then you can go ahead and put phonics on here, put the phonemic sounds, and you can sound things out as you go. If they're in between those places, then you're more than welcome to put phonemic sounds on your stickers and spelling words. You can do them both. You don't have to be stuck in just either or kind of situation. It's really a good way to be able to change up things to work for whatever level your young learner is on. One more thing before we move on to No Stress Chess. I forgot to tell you about your stickers. If you use the low-tack stickers in order to put your words on the board, then you don't really want to leave these on the board when you store it, when you go ahead and put it up and clean up. The paper that they actually come on is perfect. You can peel them right off of your board and just stick them back onto the paper, and then you can put your stickers and your components for the game back into your box and store it that way. Now, moving on to No Stress Chess. Well, it might just be chess for you. I technically need No Stress Chess because, like I said before, I don't know how to play, and my kids do. And if anybody feels me on this, you know when your kids finally realize that they're better at you than something, and then they just want to rub it in your face every chance they get. That's our situation in my house with chess. So I got the No Stress Chess board basically to help me, but in turn, it also helped them become better chess players. So I'm still on that whole catch-up game. As before, though, we'll take out our chessboard. Let's get all of our pieces together. We'll take out our board first. So we'll need our board, of course. And then we are still using the low-tack stickers that we had from the Candyland game. You can still use these now. Or like I said, you can use your Post-it notes or whatever it is you choose to use. Your washi tape if you have some of that, whatever it is. And just like before, these can either be sight words, spelling words, phonemic situations. If you're working on, if you're working on word families, that kind of stuff. Whatever it is that you're working on at the time, you will go ahead and put on your stickers and then place them all over the board, just like we did in the other situation with our Candyland game. So that's the general idea of that. Let me set up the chessboard and I'll be right back. So with the chess game, you can keep the same concepts that we used with the Candyland game, and you can just load the board up with spelling words. And the one thing that I like about No Stress Chess is that it comes with cards, like a deck of cards, for every single one of the pieces on the board. And they also tell you what it is that each piece can do and how many spaces that they can move. So you can play a normal game of chess, and then when your young learner lands on whatever spelling word they land on the board, they have the opportunity to go ahead and spell that word as well, and then you can collect points. And so every time you get a spelling word right, they go ahead and get 2 points. And then once you get to 6 points, then you can start doing things like freezing the other person's turn, or you can take your 6 points and say, hey, I want one of my pieces back that you have already retrieved from my board, and I'm going to put it back in play. So that's the way that you would go ahead and take the spelling words in order to get points, and the points would basically guide what things you can reverse in the game. Another way to be able to add in more than just spelling, another language arts concept, is you can use how many spaces each of the each of the pieces get to move. So for instance, your pawn only gets to move, it says one space. The only exception for that is when they are making their first move of the game. Then they can move 2 spaces. So if you choose to move your pawn 2 spaces, now you've passed over 2 words. Now you get the opportunity to make a sentence with each of the words. So here's the way that you gather those points. If you make a sentence with each of the words, you can get 2 points for each of the sentences that you make. If you can actually spell the words that you passed over during your move, you can get a point for each word that you spelled right. Of course, they don't get to see the words, so make sure that they close their eyes. Once again, you can gather those points, and then when it comes time, once you get 5 points, you can freeze another 6 points. I'm sorry, you can freeze another person's turn, or once you get to the point system is totally up to you. Let me say that also. I'm just telling you how we do it. So once you get to 10 points, you can retrieve a piece. So let's say that I was playing with my kids, and of course they have gotten to the point where they've taken some of my pawns, and I've gotten up to 10 points via making sentences with the words that I have on the board and spelling my words correctly. Now I'm going to go ahead and scratch off 10 of my points. We will be keeping points on our scratch pads that you're supposed to have. I might have left that out. So you would take your scratch pads to keep your points, and then you'd mark off the number of points you use. I go over here, I get my pawn back, I put it back on the board like it never left its place, and then I start over in that place with my pawn again, and we continue play. The other thing that you can do to take it up a notch even more is you can use alliterations. Now my kids really love making alliterations because it's more like poetry and sort of musical also. They like a lot of music, so alliterations go very well with their choices. You can also, when you move your space, when you land on your piece on the board, you can have rules that if that piece, let's say, I don't know, it has little on the board, and now your young learner gets the opportunity to make an alliteration with little. So if the alliteration actually makes sense, then they start off getting 3 points. And once you add those points on with all of the other options, your spelling or your sentences, it's just another way to amp up the opportunity to get points to reverse the play of your opponent. So alliterations are good to use in these situations. You can also say, make the rule that when they land on that piece, the rule is the opportunity to name 3 synonyms or 3 antonyms, or whatever it is that they are working on at the time. Any of those language concepts, whether they're working on phonemes or spelling words, alliterations, parts of speech, sentence making, any of those things can all be incorporated into the game. And when you use your point system, it also incorporates more of the strategy that goes along with the general game of playing chess. So give it a try and see whether or not your kids really enjoy incorporating their language arts skills into their strategy skills of chess. Okay, so now that we have the Monopoly board all set up, we can go ahead and work on playing this game. Remember, even though Monopoly is a game that is steeped in finances, money, buying options, those kinds of things that are typically considered math concepts, we are going to continue our focus on language arts skills, on incorporating language arts skills into our learning opportunities through playing games. So we're going back to our same stickers that we've been using. We've used these in every example. I just want to let you see how this one simple step can change a lot of games. So we'll go back to our same stickers, and the first option is place your stickers one on each tile of the board. Now, normally in Monopoly, you are going through the game and you are trying to buy property. And so this time you are still going to use your buying concept, but this time you get the opportunity to, if you spell the word correctly, to purchase the word that you land on the board. The value of the word can still be the same as on the actual Monopoly board. And once you are the owner of that word is now yours. When another player lands on that word, the same rules apply, but you get to choose what it is that they have to do with that word. So they can spell it, they can make a rhyme with it, they can make an alliteration with it, they can build a sentence, they can state antonyms, synonyms, whatever it is, because you now own the word. So that is your choice once a player lands on the board. So that's the first way that you can go ahead and play this game. The second thing that you can do is you can put parts of speech on the board. So you can have your stickers, instead of them being spelling words, they can be things that can create sentences, parts of speech. So nouns, adjectives, verbs, subjects, anything, any of those kinds of things. And once they land on a word when it comes to the board, now they have the opportunity to once again buy that word. The same examples apply as before. When someone else lands on that word, they later get the opportunity to be able to have that person do whatever it is they choose for the word. Oh, and I forgot to say that, let's say for instance, you landed on a word and I own that word, and now I'm saying to you, hey, since I own that word, you have to be able to spell it backwards. So if you can't spell it backwards, then now you owe me and you have to pay me whatever is on that board, spot of the board. Now, moving forward, what I was saying is if you choose to put parts of speech on the board. Now, certain words can just be free. So things like the, a, and, of, those are just given to all players. And once you land on the other parts of this of speech on the board, when you have purchased enough of your parts of speech to make a sentence, now you get to make a sentence with your parts of speech that you've purchased. And when you make a sentence, now not only do you own those spaces on the board, but now you have leveled up. So now with your sentence, you get to charge $10 extra every single time a player lands on any one of those words. Now, the thing about the sentence is they have to remember the sentence that you have created with the words that you've purchased. So let's say my sentence is the little red hen ran fast. So anytime you land on one of those words, not only do I own the word, but now I have built a sentence with it, and you have to be able to, one, do my first request with the word, whatever that is, and then two, you have to be able to restate the sentence that is connected with that word. If you can't restate your sentence, then now you owe me again. You're more than welcome to make up the value of your sentence. Some people could suggest that we could go ahead and say each word in the sentence has a different value. So if I have a 5, let's say each word is worth $1, and I have 5 words, my sentence, if you can't remember it, will now cost you $5. And you move forward in that way, the same way you would play Monopoly, until someone wins. So you're more than welcome, once again, to customize whatever you need to customize in any of these games. The point is, I just wanted to be able to show you how you can take regular board games and what it is that you're learning and incorporate them together, so that learning and play doesn't have to be an either or situation, that it can be a combination of things. And not only can you play these games with language arts concepts, but we're also have suggestions later on in the month about how to incorporate math concepts, social studies concepts, and science concepts into regular play in such things like board games, possible Christmas presents, so that your young learners don't have to just say, hey, I have to sit down and be still. Every now and then we need a chance to move. We need a chance to think creatively. We need a chance to play and to grow. And that can't always be done in workbooks. So I hope that the suggestions that I have given you will start you on your journey, or at least inspire you to think of ways to incorporate play and games into whatever it is that you're learning at the time. If you like this video, of course, stop on by the Instagram page and hit the follow button if you haven't. Hit the like button, of course. I would love the like button as well. And then you can go on over to YouTube if you're not already there watching this, and you can also subscribe to our channel. We'd greatly appreciate that. So I am hoping that you enjoy these games and these ideas, and if you get any inspiration from it, please share it with me. I would love, love, love to hear it. And if you decide that I'm going to give one of these a try, then go ahead and tag me in the post, because I would love to see what you're doing and how you have taken the ideas that we've thrown out there and customized them for you and your young learners. So thank you very much for watching, and don't forget to check back next week for our next set of suggestions for how to incorporate those Christmas presents and those toys into play concepts that will focus on mathematic skills. All right, guys, talk to you later. Bye.